The Sports Box proudly presents Birnbaum versus Galetta in a field goal kicking duel. Watch as Sports Box host Hamilton Mike Galetta takes on local fan David Buy with Birnbaum in a field goal kicking duel for the ages. We will go live Sunday, February 26th at high noon for all of our YouTube subscribers. And if you'd like to be there live, come on out and support us at Mark A. Sorali Memorial Field on Flittertown Road in Elm. This is one you will not want to miss.
Well, hello again, and welcome to the show that, just like fine wine, we age with time. This is the Sports Box, where the only opinion that matters is right here. I am Mike Galetta, a.k.a. Hamilton Mike, along with my partner, Brian, the Ranger Retard. Brian, how are you today?
I am phenomenal, sir. How are you?
God, I'm just exuberated right now. Today we're going to talk about big-name NHL coaches, Stanley Cup winning coaches getting fired today. One by the name of Ken Hitchcock, the other by the name of Claude Julien. Let's talk about Hitchcock first in St. Louis. Here's a guy we both thought at the beginning of the year, I think in our previews, we talked about him surviving the year, even though the Blues have been struggling. This year, Tarasenko having a decent year, but they have nothing else around Tarasenko. And I think it kind of all went wrong with the trade of Elliott. And, there's a goaltender who I thought played well last year, carried them in a couple games, but off to Calgary he goes, and Ken Hitchcock out of a job.
Well, the thing that really just I feel bad for him here is because he had said he wanted to retire at the end of the season. Yeah. And it really sucks because he's going to go out this way, it looks like. Yeah. But he did win the Stanley Cup in 1999 with the Dallas Stars. He's been around the league. He was in Philadelphia, was in Columbus, and he's had a pretty successful run in St. Louis. I mean, they've made the playoffs every single year that he's been there. But, this team was off to a tough start. Right now, they're barely hanging on to a playoff spot, but I think Hitchcock always liked Jake Allen. They invested a lot into Jake Allen to be the star of the future, and they were kind of going back and forth between him and Brian Elliott last year, especially in the playoffs, in the conference finals against the Sharks. That may have been what their overall ultimate undoing was not going to a goaltender and staying there. We talked about that at length. Same thing happened to Dallas. Yeah, going back and forth with the goaltending and it hurt you in the playoffs.
Money tied up in goaltending
more than anything. Yeah. So they traded Brian Elliott. They ended up going with Jake Allen. They've struggled. Their save percentage is close to the bottom of the league, if not at the bottom. Again, they don't score as many goals as you would think a team like that would. But they are in a playoff spot right now. They have that second spot in the Central Division, but they're going to be fodder for Chicago at this point. I mean, they're not going to get out of that series. No. And I think the big problem there, Mike, is they had every look of a team this year. They really could have gone somewhere.
Yeah, we both predicted I think they were going to go well this year.
Conference Finals berth last year. Pretty much the same team coming back. Again, not the result they were looking for. So you see a big name like Ken Hitchcock. Maybe it's the end of his NHL coaching career.
Yeah, like you said, they are afloat in the wild card race, 29-27. But in the same sense, they haven't played well at all. Jake Allen has been struggling. Yeah. Hey, you roll the dice sometimes on a goaltender hoping it pan out, and this is what happens. But I don't think he deserved to get fired. I mean, I know the upper management might have said, he might not. He's going to retire at the end of the year. Okay, let's wait a little bit. But maybe they see it as this rock's falling fast. Got to get him out of there. But also the question I ask you, Brian, is you're going to do this to somebody, and I say this about a lot of coaches. You're going to put him in there. Is it really worth getting rid of a guy like that to put an interim in there for the rest of the year? What is the interim coach going to do for the rest of the year? Well, or who are you going to bring in to make that turn?
Yeah, I mean, they brought in Mike Yeo, former coach of the Minnesota Wild. I mean, he didn't really have a whole lot of success there.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, for 2 months, how are you going to bring in a guy to make the turn?
I mean, they've played better since. 6-4 in their last 10. They won 4 in a row as of filming today. Again, do I think they're going to get out of the first round? No, I don't. I really don't. And I say that because they're going to end up playing either Minnesota or Chicago if they stay where they are. Or if they drop out, they might end up playing Minnesota or Chicago or possibly San Jose. And I just don't think that these are teams they're going to be able to beat. Again, it's a team that I thought would be a lot better at this point, and I'm upset to see that they're not where they need to be. We'll see. Again, I feel for Ken Hitchcock. I think he deserved a better fate. I think he should be able to go out on his own terms. And if I were him, honestly, you know what? Las Vegas should give him a call.
Yeah.
Las Vegas should give him a call.
I agree. So on the other side, we're going to talk about Claude Julien, but first, a word from our sponsor.
This episode of the Sports Box is brought to you by Mic'd Up Entertainment and DJ Mike Velarde. For all of your event planning needs, make sure you contact Mike at 609-864-5925 and tell him that you saw him on the Sports Box.
Okay, so Claude Julien, Brian in Boston. just ousted recently. Here's a guy who I thought was doing a decent job there. Boston's been up and down this year, but again, like we talked on the other side about Ken Hitchcock, here's a guy that, probably shouldn't have got axed this quick.
So I think he's a scapegoat.
Yeah, I think he is too for Sweeney.
So Julian's been there since 2007, 2008. They made the playoffs 7 consecutive years, won the Stanley Cup in 2011.
Yep.
They have not made the playoffs the past 2 years. I look at Boston's roster, and I think that the blame for all of this is on Don Sweeney, the general manager, not on Claude Julien.
Absolutely.
Fans around the Philly area will remember a guy named Zach Rinaldo, who sucks at hockey.
Stinks.
Awful. Boston felt it was in their best interest to give the Flyers a third-round pick for him. That's insane. That's insane. A third-round pick for Zach Rinaldo. It's a team that ended up, through different trades and things, with 3 consecutive first-round picks a year ago. They ended up taking guys who were projected to be second-round picks. You know why? Because they didn't know who the hell to take. So what Sweeney's done to this roster is the reason that this team is underperforming. And you know what? You look at guys like David Pastrnak, who I love. Young player. Mm-hmm. Is going to be a great player for many years to come. Char is towards the end of his career there. The whole thing with Dougie Hamilton was an abject failure in trading him to Calgary, one of those first-round picks that they got, because they didn't think they were going to sign him. Don Sweeney has ruined this roster, period. This is not Claude Julien's fault. I'm not personally a Claude Julien guy, but you can't argue with the results. I mean, the man's a great coach. The man's won a Stanley Cup. We mentioned Las Vegas as a possible landing spot for Ken Hitchcock. Wouldn't shock me at all if they go look at Claude Julien. Yeah, I don't think this guy's going to be out of work very long. But again, I don't put any of the blame right now at Julien's feet for what's going on there.
Yeah, like you said, it's a lot of these guys on the roster. You look at the roster; it's an aging roster. Zdeno Chara is their leader and their captain, but here's a guy that's been talked about for a couple of years now, getting moved, and they hold on to him year after year after year. You do have Tuukka Rask in goal, which I think is fine, but in the same sense, you got, like you said, aging guys on this team. I definitely think Claude Julien was a scapegoat for this team. I definitely think he was hooked too early. You want to let him survive the year, then hook him? Okay, that's a different story, but. Yeah, I definitely think this team's headed in the wrong direction quickly. You got guys like Patrick Bergeron, Backus that are up there in age.
That was a free agent signing, which you remember. I thought was terrible.
Yeah, I thought it was terrible.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was a little sketchy on it, but you look at what's happened now. It's awful. It's terrible. But yeah, these guys, in the NHL especially, a lot of guys are made to be scapegoats, and I guess it's in all sports too. But it seems like Sweeney's really taking them the wrong way, and Julien's really taking a hit for this. Yeah. But like we said, either of these two guys could end up in Vegas. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities.
Yeah, and again, I mean, these are guys like I said, Mike. These are not guys who I think are going to be out of work very long. I mean, these are guys who, they've been there, then they've done that. They've both been successful in where they are around the league. But again, you look at Boston right now. You want to talk about their salary cap. I mean, again, you want to blame Claude Julien for giving David Krejci that much money? Yeah. 7.25 cap hit for a bunch of years. Even Bergeron, his cap hit's a little under 7 for a bunch of years. Backus 6 for a bunch of years. I mean, Marchand is a relative bargain. He's actually scoring goals, and it's just like, again, where do you go with a roster where the defense pretty much needs to be redone entirely? Other than Torrey Krug.
I think the move was basically, too, with Boston not being on the top or near the top like they normally are, and back in mid-pack, people are panicking in Boston. What is the hell's going on? And this is the reason why they had to make a move, and they got Julien out of there. Yeah. But I think it's a bad mistake. Who knows?
They need those picks that I think were terrible to really pan out for this team. That's it.
Heavy salary roster. I mean, like you said, where do you go? You start dumping big names. I mean, you almost have to blow this whole thing up. Do you want to see it come to that? I don't know.
That David Backus deal is going to hurt this team.
Oh yeah, it's going to hurt this definitely because they have needs, they have openings, and they're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah. Pasternak's going to need a big raise.
Yep.
Spooner's going to require a raise.
Yep.
Just off the top.
And that's the thing. At the end of the year, you got guys coming out of their agreements. How do you re-sign them and try to keep a little bit of the infrastructure together? You can't. But we're going to have to go in different directions.
But here's the idiocy. The idiocy behind this whole thing, and I'm blasting Don Sweeney here. I'm not a Bruins fan by any stretch.
No,
you're telling me that you'll give David Backus $6 million a year, but you won't give Dougie Hamilton 6.5 to 7? What are you thinking?
Yeah, that was
seriously.
That was a bad move in itself.
They got one defenseman on this roster in Torrey Krug. Everybody else sucks. And you give up on a guy, Dougie Hamilton, who should have been a flyer, I might add, because they should have taken him over Couturier. Another show. You give up on a kid like that at his age. So you for what? For what? So you could go sign a guy like David Backes at 32 to a 6-year deal? Get the hell out of here.
At some point, you got to go youth and bring in some guys that are younger, quicker, better, than to kind of patch it together with names and big contracts. I mean, I don't know. I think it's not going to work, but. There we go again with Claude Julien. So another fall guy. But thank you for watching the coaches. The coaches getting fired, Stanley Cup coaches. So remember, you can always get us on social media if you need to.
Absolutely. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at SportsBuck Show. A lot of great content there. We do have exclusive content for our Facebook subscribers and likers there. So if you haven't found us on Facebook, we're at SportsBuck Show. You can definitely like us there. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, I know a lot of you have. Obviously, the numbers have been great. The SportsBox logo is going to come around here, right at the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe through there to get all of our content as it gets posted.
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family members, tell everybody to start subscribing to us because they're missing out on some good stuff.
Absolutely.
Remember, we always love to hear from you, so write in, let us know what we can do for you, what you want to see, what you want to... Let me know you want to throw myself down a hill. Whatever. We'll do it for you. I don't know if we'll do that, but yeah, let us know. We'll do some stuff. We got the kick coming up. We got good times coming.
Absolutely.
So. All right, so remember, at the Sports Box, the only opinion that matters is right here. Thanks for watching, folks. See you.
Don't forget to subscribe.